Chapter 30. Tim and Cassandra were dismissed for the night, with a similar offer made to Dick, but he insisted they shouldn't be spread too thin. Batman was confident that with the blows dealt to both Red Hood and the Seraphim back-to-back, the streets would be calm, at least for the night, though each was still liable to answer his call should he request them later. So the two and the gravely injured Stephanie returned to Wayne Manor. Cassandra and Tim changed clothes quickly so they could help Stephanie. Every movement still proved extremely painful as she struggled into a pair of sweatpants Tim retrieved before they drove off again, this time to Leslie Tompkins' downtown clinic. It was probably for the best that Bruce didn't accompany the three there. Dr. Tompkins, once a valued friend of the Batman family, hadn't been spoken to by him in some time. Though she still ran a fine if minimalistic clinic for citizens and vigilantes alike, Bruce's trust was shattered not so long ago. Even when her own transgressions were revealed to be misdirection, it seemed he had not granted her forgiveness. Regardless of this, Tim and Stephanie knew she was the best resource they could turn to. Dr. Tompkins eyed the three with something resembling frustration, as Tim and Cassandra, with their own considerable struggle, supported Stephanie into one of the examination rooms. "Haven't seen you all in a while." She shut and locked the door behind them. "The walls are soundproof, the building's clean. Generous donation by the Wayne family a few years back. What happened?" She looked down at the bloody, misshapen bandage across Stephanie's knee. She would have spoken for herself, but after a moment of still nothing but deep, labored breaths, Tim spoke up. "Red Hood," Tim said. "The two crossed paths. She was just supposed to be Dick's backup. I have no idea how she—" "I meant the injury," Tompkins said. "I'm not trying to be curt, but those damn cherubs, or whatever they're calling themselves, keep sending us more injured people every night. So, what happened to her knee?" She stepped forward and gently tried to undo the dressing. "Stabbed!" Stephanie tried to say. After another few breaths, she gave the smallest hint of a smile and added, "Still not as bad as giving birth." Tompkins ignored this as she examined the wound and cringed. "I'll have to look over a few other things, but my guess, in addition to a standard stabbing damage, is he probably sliced your ACL, and if he managed that, you're going to be out of costume for a while. Stephanie, is your mother at home?" "Night shift. Usually is," Stephanie said. "You aren't going to be able to hide this one from her." Within a few days, everything was clear. Stephanie claimed she'd obfuscated illness for 2 days to keep her mother from growing suspicious. On Thursday, she slowly hobbled to school, only to claim that she tore her ACL tripping when she tried to catch the bus. Leslie Tompkins reluctantly agreed to cover her, and explained to her mother the injury would probably require some tendon surgery in 2 months. Until then, she was to exercise her leg, but keep strain very minimal. Tompkins glared at Stephanie as she made the point. Stephanie was, of course, desperate to fight this process, but Bruce confiscated her uniform after she left the cave and said he'd only return it when she was well again. Her only consolation, for the time being, would be Tim's promise to visit her, both on and off patrol. 3 days into Stephanie's incapacitation, Cassandra sat in the Brown family's small den. Tim brought her along to visit while Stephanie was on bed rest, and she was giving the two lovers a little time to themselves. He'd be done and beckon her in so they could talk, the three of them, soon enough. Cassandra caught the way Mrs. Brown still eyed Tim with some suspicion when they'd first arrived, probably a combination of, "Were you the one who got her injured?" and "Were you the one who got her pregnant?" But Crystal excused herself shortly thereafter. She had a night shift in a few hours. She needed some more bed rest herself. Something, Cassandra wasn't sure what, bothered her about this arrangement. Of course Tim would go back for a few minutes by himself first. She didn't really mind that the two of them were still all flirty with one another, but she did think one or both of them might be a little uncomfortable if she was in the room with them. Maybe she just wondered why she couldn't go up with him first, and then Tim could have his alone time. She was worried about Stephanie too, after all. She felt in the pit of her stomach. She wanted to know Stephanie was all right. She wanted to comfort her. Somewhere in the midst of this, the quiet roiling in her mind was interrupted by a knock on the door. Cassandra stiffened. She saw a blurry body on the other side of the window, but couldn't make out anything clear. It was more often her instincts to be overly cautious, so she slipped up to the door as if in preparation for a fight. As she closed in, however, the shape on the other side of the glass came into focus. Cassandra answered the door, and the young woman with short hair from the charity event stood on the other side. Oh, hey there. Surprise edged her voice. Is this... You're Steph's friend, right? Cassie? Is this her place? Cassandra nodded. Yes. You're... She grasped for the name for a moment, then came up with... Sadie? Yeah. Hey there. So is this Steph's place? Do you live here too? No, just visiting. Cassandra hadn't really been able to take this woman's measure back at the event, but Stephanie did refer to her as an old classmate, and she seemed nice enough. She opened the door fully. Are you here for that too? Steph gave me this address when I reached out, and another old classmate of ours mentioned she got hurt bad, Sadie said. I thought I'd better stop in and say I hope she feels better. That tracked. Cassandra heard secondhand from Tim that Stephanie had a few other friends come to visit her already, so she opened the door and gestured her in. Tim's back there now. We can go in soon. Thanks. Tim? He a boyfriend or something? Yes. And my brother. Right on. Okay. Sadie sat down on an old recliner across from the couch where Cassandra seated herself again. For a few beats, the two sat in relative quiet. Almost as if she couldn't keep it from bubbling up, however, Sadie asked, Okay, I really hope this doesn't sound rude, but did you cut your hair yourself? Cassandra frowned and considered the question for a moment. When she remembered her personal attempt to trim to Bruce's requirements didn't even meet her own loose hopes, she nodded. Yes. I swear I didn't ask because I was trying to make fun of you. Despite those words, it did come out of Sadie's mouth like a chuckle. I did the exact same thing when I was in, 8th grade. Zero idea what I was doing. Steph was probably a little in shock. She told me I used to have hair down to my butt. The speed of the explanation, together with a bit of pathos she felt, got Cassandra laughing. For a moment, the two shared giggles. Then Cassandra asked, What were you cutting it for? Oh, some photos of Catwoman were on the news or something, and I thought, I can rock that. Sadie combed her short hair with her fingers for a moment. I can rock something similar, but I need a stylist. My mom and dad freaked the hell out. My brother just laughed. For another moment, Cassandra kept laughing. But then, at the reminder, she said, Find out somewhere to stay? Or are you with her again? Sadie's grin fell, and she uttered a disgusted little groan. Had to go back to my mom. At least for now. Never got better with the boyfriend? Huh? After a moment to think over the response, Sadie followed with, Oh, right. No, never got better between him and me. I have this cousin who swears he's going to help me when I turn 18 in the spring, but he doesn't want Joanne trumping him up on kidnapping charges before that. She shook her head. It's a mess. After a few seconds of slow nodding, Cassandra said, Praying for you. That elicited another, Huh? As though Sadie wasn't totally sure what she'd heard. After a moment to consider, she said, Oh! I didn't realize you were... Never mind. Thank you. Just after, Tim stepped down the stairs that led to Stephanie's bedroom. She's ready for you. He looked first to Cassandra, then, somewhat confused, over to Sadie. Oh, hi there. Hi, you're Tim, right? Sadie rose to meet him. I'm Sadie. Steph and me went to middle school together. I won't be long, I was just popping in to say hi. Oh, well, all right. He cast another uneven look to Cassandra, as though he was unsure what to make of this development, before he said, Well, both of you can come back and wish her well. Come on. Both rose and followed him. Sadie was a welcome distraction, but just like that, Cassandra felt worried for Stephanie again. Cassandra returned to St. Michael's for adoration the day after, alone but content. She had returned to the church every Sunday for the last month, but this was the first adoration she attended without Tim. The entering of the church had become routine. She consecrated herself at the bowl of holy water, picked a pew toward the middle, and rolled the rosary she received from Monsignor Ryan between her fingers. She had plenty of sleep the previous night, and, if anything, the church felt cold to the point that she didn't remove her coat when she sat down. There would be no chance for falling asleep for another beautiful dream that adoration, but Cassandra felt at peace with that. It was not important to capture that moment again, only to once again pray toward that peace of her Lord. Though a few other worshippers came and went, she felt alone with the host contained at the front of the building. She knelt at first, as Tim suggested, and looked on in introspection. Her mind had already turned to many things, but she tried to be straightforward while she was on her knees. Jesus, thank you for being here. Again. Today and every day. Only a month ago I came, but everything feels different. She smiled to herself a little at that thought. Nice things look beautiful. The sky more blue, grass more green, like your intention. Feel it. It is wonderful. Don't know what sins I have today. Monsignor says we carry many, just trying to do your work. Always made me happy. Though even that seems different now. More important, more precious. You brought me here. Guide me further. Bruce says I can fully convert soon, be baptized like you. Then Tim and I can have communion. We'll truly be with you then. I can't wait. Guide me further. And the streets in here. Want to live as you did. Want always to feel your love. Thank you. Amen. With another sign of the cross, Cassandra sat down properly, but kept her head bowed. Many thoughts and prayers crossed her mind over the next 40 minutes, and she repeatedly thanked God for the wonder and goodness she felt, and prayed for peace throughout Gotham. However, every few prayers, her mind turned, of course, back to Stephanie. The image of her dear friend, bleeding and shouting in pain, seemed trapped in her mind, no matter how she tried to shake it out. Of course it was lingering, Cassandra told herself. She loved her, and Stephanie even said it back. In the midst of those mental conversations and prayers, a tiny sound echoed through the church. She opened her eyes and looked toward the other parishioners, who paid it no mind. But she still felt she heard it, something like footsteps, but quicker, with a little clang against the ground. The realization came to Cassandra fast and made her smile. She finished her prayer, excused herself, not to any of the other people within the church, but to the host, and walked toward the offices at the back of the building. Those were undoubtedly Snowball's tiny footsteps. She slipped the rosary back into her pocket, and felt like she was repeating a process from months before. Cassandra knocked on the office door, before the boisterous sound of Monsignor Ryan called, "Come in!" So she did. The priest sat at his desk, Snowball on top again, as he munched a treat from his hand. Come in, come in. Shut the door, if you could, please." Cassandra complied as Monsignor Ryan pushed a few papers aside and looked up at her. "What can I help you—" "Wait. Have we met before?" "Yes," Cassandra said. "You look familiar, but I'm not entirely sure from where. I'm terribly sorry. I don't know if we've met properly." "Oh, yes. I see you there every Sunday nowadays. That's right. You're that one young woman who doesn't take communion." "I do not," she said. "Haven't wholly converted yet." "Well, do come in. Pull up a chair. Don't mind Snowball. He doesn't bite. You aren't allergic, are you?" "You asked me last time." Cassandra chuckled as she offered a hand to the tiny dog, who seemed to recognize it instantly. "I did? Wait, did you come in here just once a few months ago?" She nodded. "Didn't think I'd actually see you again after the first week. Have you been Miss... I'm terribly sorry, I don't remember your name." "It's all right. Forgive me. I lied about it last time." "You did? Why?" "Family is famous, and still a little sensitive. Didn't want you to know," Cassandra said as she stroked Snowball's head. "If I may ask?" "It's all right now. My name is Cassandra Cain." The priest nodded and tilted his head a little, unsure if he'd heard that name before when Cassandra decided to simplify things further. "Misspoke. Cassandra Wayne." That name the Monsignor recognized. "Wayne? As in the Wayne family, like Bruce Wayne?" "My adopted father," she said. This revelation left Monsignor Ryan stunned for a moment. "You're Bruce Wayne's daughter? I didn't even know he had a daughter. I've heard all about his adopted sons. I even know one of them. Does not like the publicity." It was an easy statement to make, because it was what Bruce always insisted. "It was private. Please don't tell." "Oh, I won't tell a soul." Monsignor Ryan shook his head in wonder. "Well, I'll be Bruce Wayne's daughter. Wayne's not Catholic himself, is he?" "No," Cassandra said. "But he took in Tim Drake, right? You have an adopted brother named Tim, don't you?" "I do." "He was a great boy," Monsignor Ryan sighed. "And Janet was such a wonderful mother. I have to admit, now I'm a little disappointed he didn't come with you." "Says he will sometime soon," Cassandra said. "I made him interested again." "You made him interested again? Funny, and here I figured it must be the other way around. Anyway, I'm sorry I got you off track. How can I help you today?" This was the part that she'd not put so much thought into. She wanted to make a request, but had to hope it didn't seem too suspicious. It was obvious she was trying to keep her identity secure. only want you to pray for the state our city is in." "I can assure you I do that every day." Monsignor Ryan reached out and scratched Snowball behind his ears. "It's not an easy city to be working out of, but I do my best, I really do." "Tim told me stories of how you came here." Uneasiness seemed to come over the Monsignor's face as she added, "Won't tell anyone." "Well, I suppose I know a family secret of yours, and you know a few of mine," Monsignor Ryan said. "We should both keep it that way. I don't like to talk about it. Those times." "I understand," Cassandra said. "It is inspiring, that's all." "Well, whatever good can come of it. The Lord works in mysterious ways, I suppose." "And also wanted prayers for my friend. Her name is Stephanie, injured badly. Tear in her knee." "Goodness, I'm sorry," Monsignor Ryan said. "She is important. One of the reasons I started coming." Concern edged his words, and the priest asked, "Is she a member of the parish?" "No," Cassandra said. "Methodist, just very supportive." "Well, I'll keep her in my prayers. Of course I will. You sound very lucky to have her, Cassandra, and I'm sure she's very lucky to have you." Cassandra looked down for a moment at this thought. Her mind again returned to alternations between the thoughts of happy times with her friend and her face, twisted in pain and that grave injury. "She's my best friend."